I didn't know who he was going in because I didn't preface myself with that.
I was not prepared.
So I wasn't prepared, but he like talked, like he was really like impactful with the words that he was saying, and like used words very specifically and in a way that made a lot of sense and like connected really deeply with a group of people that he'd never met before. Plus, he was like super just easy to talk to and like really like a super cool dude.
He's like an indigenous Methow elder. Yeah, I don't know. I think the way that he was so like nonchalant about everything that he shared with us was so impactful. Like when, I don't want to cut to the chase, but during dinner he was talking about like his experiences with other indigenous elders and like listening to them talk, and he was talking about how like, oh, these guys, like the way they talked just like commanded a room, and like they were just so powerful, and we were sitting there with our jaws on the ground like,
oh my God, you are the same. Yeah.
Hearing him talk about his grandparents was so cool. I mean, obviously like he has an ancestral connection to this land, but like those memories of like hearing those stories and like talking about how his grandma and his aunt would like become these characters in like a creation story, and the way that he was just so willing to share that with us, I thought that was really like powerful. It was a very powerful way to share these stories, because he doesn't have to. He talked about like how there was this little footbridge built over a river, and they would collect these rocks and catch the salmon, and how it was like a very integral piece of their culture and like the way that they lived and sustained themselves. But it was like
on the side of the
highway, on the edge of this old white guy's property. And then the fact that this guy like came over to us and was like, "What are you talking about?" And like the fact that Randy wasn't immediately like, "Go away, we're doing a class."
Yeah, he was like, "Could we use your property to get down to the river?"
Yeah, and the fact that he was just so consistently welcoming was like shocking to me.
Super cool dude.
It was incredible. Like all of these little details and how well he's held on to them, I think was so incredible. Like the way he told stories was so engrossing.
Like when we were at the what was that park called? Yeah, the Pit House, and then he told us about the, what was it called? Yeah, the winter story, creation story, anyway. And yeah, that was just like insane, like captivating. Like I felt that story like I was watching a movie, and it was super, super crazy. And then to like think about it culturally from his perspective, that this is something that his mom, grandma, all were learning and like knew and told and, you know, passed on from generation to generation was really, really like really special. It was like we just walked in, and then he sat down and he was like, "I'm not gonna tell it again, all right?" And then like started talking, and it was like one of the best stories I've ever heard, like that I've heard in a very, very, very long time.
Yeah, I think it's a story I'm never gonna forget, simply because of the way he told it, but also because we're on this trip and we're doing these things, and like I have all these notes.
Plus, this guy is just legendary. So he sits down, he came to dinner, and he like orders his food and is like starting to eat, and then him and Richard, they were just like talking about like the old times and like people that they knew in common, and like a lot of these people I didn't know who they were. And then he like there was like every once in a while I'd hear like Marlon Brando up Caesar shop, just because he's so he's Georgia O'Keeffe.
I was under the table Googling these names. So this one time I talked at Obama's inauguration, you know, like,
what's that one artist, the girl that smells bad? So many like super famous, influential people, but then we didn't understand that this man, like Randy Lewis, is the same level or even more like than these people.
I would have never have guessed that this like little old guy in the Methow like had all of these connections all over the world, and the fact that he didn't go out of his way to like over-explain himself, and the fact that he was so focused on just sharing his
like what we were
stories
learning.
and what we needed to know and what
Yeah.
we wanted to know and the specifics of what he wanted to share with us about this place made the fact that he had all of these other stories so mind
Blown. Yeah. Yeah, Coeur d'Alene. This is a question from a long time ago, but I had understood that a lot of these environmental, like, focused jobs required a lot more networking than actual qualification to, like, do these jobs, because my mom is in that same camp, and so it was kind of crazy to be like, oh wow, if I want to be doing these things, I really have to, like, know people. I really have to, like, assert myself in a way that's not like, okay, I'm gonna apply for an application and then maybe I'll get the job. Like, I have to, like, go back year after year after year and be like, hey, you still offering this job that I'm super interested in? Like, that's crazy to me. And so just, like, questions about how do I make that a reality in a weird world. Yeah.
The one thing that I kind of kept coming back to was when I think it was Casey Lewis we were talking to, and a couple other people, but, like, the focus on, like, nonprofits are great. They're doing so much incredible work, but I think that some people focus so much on, like, my nonprofit is reaching out to people to see what they can do for their storm runoff or property or riverfront was, like, I don't want to discount how incredibly important that is. Like, restoring a, like, little 10-acre piece of land for those salmon in that specific place is incredibly important, and that's how we get to the big stuff. But, like, I feel like the fact that we haven't focused on, like, systemic change more is, like, weird. Because when I think about environmentalism and, like, the things that I've researched in the past and been more passionate about, like, it's the systemic change. Like, it's the large-scale politics. But I kind of almost, like, discounted all of the small stuff that has to be done in order to get there. And, like, talking to John Crandall and Joe and Alexa and John.
So many people.
So many people. I can't keep track of them. Like, talking to all of these people who are so incredibly involved in, like, the place they're at, like Willow with the buffalo, and restoring these species and getting involved in local communities is so powerful. Like, I think about, like, the community across the country that I came from, like, the same things are happening there, but I just grew up with it, so I thought that was, like, normal. I didn't really think about how
To better it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, how those things build up.
Yeah.
And I think that's really powerful. And, like, I've already met, like, 5 people that I want to email and be like, can I work for you?
Yes!
Like, I want to come back here and I want to get involved with this.
Yeah.
It's so moving how connected these people are and how much they care about returning the land to the indigenous people and restoring these keystone species. And I mean, that's a question, but it's also like a thing I've been thinking about.
It's one of those.
We're still here. You know, we're still here. I mean, this country has done everything in the world to eradicate it, but we're still here. And nobody, through the help of God, will be here tomorrow, and we'll be here the next day. That there will be Methows, and that the sun will come up and the wildfires will stop. But I can't hope on that. I've got to do things to do it.